You guys are my family. I'm not saying this for the views or to be your average run-of-the-mill YouTuber and say, oh my god, my community is my family. You guys are my family, even in a scientific way. This is you, and these are all your past ancestors balancing right on your head. So, you have 2 parents, 2 grandparents, and 8 great-grandparents. So just 4 generations ago, your total ancestor count equals 30. So if we go down this line, doubling each step, then just 64 generations ago, we would have 1 quintillion ancestors, which is ridiculous, of course. Even just 40 generations ago, we would have 1 trillion ancestors, which is not only more than the amount of people that have ever existed in this world, ever, that is more than the amount of stars in the Milky Way. You know it's ridiculous when it's more than the amount of stars, and it's an absolutely ridiculous amount. So, where are all your missing ancestors? There must have been about 7 or 8,000 generations of people leading up to, well, you. So where are all your missing ancestors? There has clearly been some inbreeding or incest, if you will. Hey, what's up guys, it's Josh here, and today I'm going to be talking about if we all are related. So let's just jump right into the video. And before we jump right into the video, just hit the like button. How much time is it going to take? Just 2 seconds. So hit the like button, subscribe. Now let's just jump right into the video. So every family tree inevitably grows forks. Before the days of Tinder, choices for mates were as limited as far as you could walk. So people like Charles Darwin and Albert Einstein had to marry their first cousins. Sweet home, Alabama. I know. But because so many people with same ancestor and common ancestors have reproduced, the number of total ancestors we have is much smaller than what simple math tells us. Simple math just tells us to take the number 2 and to just power it up or exponent it up to the number of generations that have passed. For example, if we are trying to figure out the amount of ancestors we have for 7,000 or 8,000 generation, you just take the number 2, power it up like 2 powered 7,000 or 8,000, and then you get the answer. But it will lead to some ridiculous amounts of ancestors we will have, all living at the same time nonetheless. So it's absolutely haywire. So if we replace this with fancy math, taking into consideration all the stuff like how people paired up, how people actually had their cultural beliefs, how people lived, the geographical factors, the economic conditions, all that jazz, we can figure out that the number of ancestors we had is much smaller. And not only that, that ancestor just lived around the time of 30 BC in Taiwan in a port city, so his predecessors can absolutely move around the world, and that's how all of the people are sharing a common ancestor. That's right, folks. The next time you're arguing with a person on the internet, just remember you share the same great grandmother or grandfather with that person. So math tells us this person must have existed, but they didn't leave us any fossil or something. But it would have been a nice gesture to leave a birthday card for all your 7.9 billion great grandchildren. Would have been a really nice gesture, man. Like, just saying, you know. Scientifically, everybody is at least the 50th cousin of everyone. That's right. You might be my 50th cousin or even such an earlier cousin. Scientifically, everybody is at least the 50th cousin of everyone. So the thing is, right, DNA just repeats and takes copy of it over and over. Every so often there is a mistake in it, but this mistake is so small that it doesn't really matter to our body. Like, it doesn't really affect how we function as a whole. But when it does do that, we get cancer and stuff. But that's a video for another year or a day. The thing is, right, we are talking about such a serious thing here. DNA copying itself over and over, and we get a lot of changes accumulating over time. For example, we do carry the genes of our ancestor, but is it guaranteed that the next generation is going to carry them? Absolutely not. Because every so often there's a mistake, and it doesn't really affect how our body functions, these changes slip over to the next generation, and these changes accumulate at a gradual level, and so scientists can read these changes in an individual and determine how much time has passed. This is kind of like a molecular clock, if you will. These changes tell us how close or how distantly individuals are related. Humans seem like they are really different on the surface, just based on looks, but on a DNA level, we are remarkably similar. This tells us that our species is new. For example, a group of chimps in Africa show more genetic variation than the entire human species. That's crazy. So it tells us that our species is new in the grand scheme of things, and once upon a time, there was a time where only about 10,000 humans must have existed. To put things into perspective, it's about 1/3 of a concert. If people still remember those were a thing. I think they are a thing of the past by now. Yeah, honestly surprisingly. Like, there are so many things like before COVID we used to think was absolutely normal. Okay, we are drifting off topic here. So every single human in the world only differs in about 1 out of 1,000 DNA base pairs, which might seem, okay, we are not that different, right? But the thing is, right, our DNA is made up of millions and millions of strands. So when we are looking at it from that level, we can say that humans as a whole, we are so much more different, because this is a lot of single letter differences that we can see here, or SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphism. So as there are a lot of SNP changes and they accumulate over time, that's how people are different on a DNA basis. And these chunks of SNPs, these changes in our single nucleotide polymorphism is often associated with our geographic locations. Companies that test your DNA ancestries read thousands of your single letter changes and compare it with thousands of individuals from all over the world to check if your unique genetic variation signature is from a certain location. When they are comparing it from a lot of people from all around the world, they can figure out where your genome belongs in a certain part of the world. And this is how a lot of these companies that find your DNA ancestries actually function. They use a bunch of fancy math to compare your DNA with thousands of individuals throughout the world to finally piece it all together and to tell you where your genome is from a certain location in the world. Where we come from isn't always obvious from the outside, but our DNA doesn't lie. So before using all that fancy math, we were talking about a man or woman from Taiwan that is our common ancestor, right? Well, this is the sad part. That man or woman's DNA and genes has been shuffled so much in the human so far that man or woman's DNA or genes is near invisible. A matter of fact, it's invisible in our genes nowadays, like we cannot figure it out. So is there someone that is truly the mother of all? Is there the leftover fingerprints of the mother of everyone? The good news is, there is. It's your 47th chromosome. We have all heard that we have 46 chromosomes, 23 from our father and 23 from our mother. But there is a 47th chromosome. And that chromosome, my friends, is in your mitochondria. The powerhouse of the cell, goddammit. Oh, we are doing that again, huh? The thing is, you gotta understand about mitochondria is all your mitochondria actually come from your mom. And it doesn't come from your father's sperms, it comes from your mother's egg. So when we're looking at things into that grander perspective, we can figure that out, that the common ancestors we had over 150 years ago was actually a woman. So if we trace down our lineage and just figure out all the women that have lived, all the Homo sapiens that have existed, just 150,000 years ago, a person who we will call Mitochondrial Eve was the mother of all. Well, you might have a question. Why is the Mitochondrial Eve the only woman, and why everybody alive right now is actually actually a descendant of the Mitochondrial Eve, where there are other women too in the Homo sapien era. Well, the thing, my friends, it's super simple. All the other women of the Homo sapiens, their lineage has died, and she's the only person whose 47th chromosome we are all carrying actually still exists. So in the truest sense, we are all family. So let's not tear each other about for power, status, and money. Let's all stay united, and humans united have proven in the past, and even in the very near past even, that we can all, when we combine, we can absolutely do some fantastic stuff. Peacing out is Josh. See you guys in another video.